G'day Bomber fans, there have been some big moves at the club in the last few days following the Kaine Baldwin and Jaden Hunter injuries. A lot going on behind the scenes with a potential recruit training on for a list spot over the weekend. The club has come to a decision there. I'll get to that shortly. A lot to talk about this week, so stay tuned to the channel. We have a practice match coming up, potentially some leadership group announcements soon as well, but let's just get into this one. Alrighty, so key forward Jaden Hunter obviously suffered a knee injury, his ACL. This was it's obviously bad news, but it did mean we opened up a spot on our list for the mid-season draft or for an SSP signing. The supplemental selection period gives clubs a chance to replace long-term injured players or premature retirements. It's how we brought in Nick Martin and Tex Wanganeen and even some others on our list. In this case, we invited Sam Sofronidis to join us after an unsuccessful trial at Collingwood. We invited him for a couple of days. The Saturday main session on Family Day, he was there. He had barely any time to make an impact, but it was the club thinking they would check out the available options, especially because of key defender Kaine Baldwin suffering an injury. Sofronidis is a like-for-like in many ways with Baldwin, so it would obviously make sense as a replacement. And now the club opted to pass on Sofronidis. I could keep you waiting for retention, but I'll just tell you now, partly due to the reason that Baldwin's injury may not be as serious as first believed, though. So I'm going to touch on that shortly, but I'll first talk about Sofronidis and what he could have brought to the club if he was picked up, because there is every chance his name pops up again come the mid-season draft. So Sam Sofronidis is an intercepting defender, good size, fairly good age, 23. He's a flexible player. He looks pretty talented. It's hard to tell though, because he isn't really a player we have available facts and figures on. He hasn't played state level footy in a long time. The last few years, since COVID really, he's been playing in the VAFA, playing for Collegian. So it's local footy. It's not really a trajectory we often see with AFL players from local footy to the AFL. It's rare, but it has happened before. Ollie Wiltshire, in fact, was just drafted to Geelong from Barwon Heads, and Kai Turner played local footy before heading to Melbourne. So Sofronidis would be out of place, but wouldn't be a first if he was to have joined us. He was, as I said, trialling at Collingwood before he came to us briefly. The Pies selected 3 other players instead, one of whom was Josh Eyre, who you might know. He's a former Essendon player. He was in our academy. He was picked instead of Sofronidis. They played the same role. Sofronidis has been a star in the VAFA, one of the best players in the league. He has been rock solid in defence. You've got to make a real impact in local footy to get AFL scouts turning heads, so he is clearly a standout. I wonder if we see him return to Collegians or try out VFL now that he knows that AFL clubs are interested. He has elite footy capabilities, apparently. I've never seen him play. It's word of mouth and what I see online, but what I see is pretty good. Clearly, though, we felt our team was in a place where we could manage with that long-term injury and without Sofronidis. I find it interesting that we tried to replace the injured Baldwin instead of Hunter, who is the guy on the long-term injury list, but it does make sense. We have more forward depth than we do down back, but the trial obviously didn't go to plan for Sofronidis, or he would be on our list, and I think that is a good call personally. I was hoping we would go to the mid-season draft instead, get someone who has been starring throughout the year. We've been good there in the past, Durham, Menzies, even Snelling for a while, but there is a silver lining as well, because this decision came with some Baldwin news. So Kaine Baldwin's stress fracture is one big question mark. We obviously don't know when he will return. Apparently there were some doubts for the year. There were some talks online that I saw circling around saying Baldwin was initially believed to be out for the whole season. I don't know how true. It's so hard to tell the duration of an injury like this, but the club apparently believes that it will be quicker than initially thought, which is great news if true. Now, this could change so easily. I'm not taking this as fact yet. It's only been a few days since his diagnosis, so again, it's so hard to know. But the fact the club opted to pass on a ready-made defensive option and wait with what we have shows that there is clearly faith in our depth, and that that faith includes the injured Baldwin. So hopefully the news is right. Some credible sources have said that this was the club's thought process. It would be awesome if true. I'd hate for Baldwin to miss half a year with an injury like this. We'll see how it unfolds though. Alrighty, now we do have some VFL players and some close to the club that have trained with us that I thought I would just touch on quickly, just in case we decide to go close to home come the mid-season draft. So obviously Xavier O'Neill has been impressive in the reserves since coming over from West Coast. I get the feeling he's going to be named captain of the side. He let us out for the NTFL exhibition match. He isn't really a player we need though, but a guy I think is too good to be playing in the VFL. Same goes for Jackson Haitley. This one intrigues me though. He is a tall midfielder, or he's more of a utility actually. He can play a range of different roles. He is athletic, he is strong, he was really hyped in his draft year, but never really put it together at GWS or Adelaide. Still quite young, so if he was to improve, I guess he would be fairly valuable as that big-bodied midfielder. Jack Perris is a small forward who we recently signed to the VFL. He used to play for St Kilda. He is rapid, quick. He's really, really quick, as fast as you'll see. I don't know how to pronounce this, sorry. Awi Makieng is a funny one. He was an academy player a few years back. He's 20 years old now, training with us in the VFL. He's played VA, recently, like Sofronidis, but he's going to be in our reserves team. He's really athletic. He's impressed some this pre-season. Former Suns Academy product Jared Eckersley has impressed off half-back, but again, it's so early. These are just names that I'm saying who will probably be passed on, and we will elect to choose a 3-meter lanky forward that will do his knee 1 week after setting foot on the hanger. But that is that. Super quick, low-effort video just going over our decision to pass on an SSP signing. Let me know what you think. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you only hearing of this for the first time now? I personally think it's the right call. I know I'm just a footy nuffy, but I think a lot of you guys seem to agree based on what I've seen on Twitter and whatnot. But that's it. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And as always, go Bombers.